That's right!
Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Mica Burton.
So, it's 2017 now, modern era, we have like future stuff, cars drive themselves.
What?
And you'd think that at this point, video game companies and their partners would know how to do things like in-game voice chat, right? Seems pretty basic, we've been doing it for a while, couple generations.
Yeah.
Well, not if you're Nintendo.
Yes, when it comes to voice chat for Splatoon 2, apparently Nintendo took all its knowledge of sleek design that it used on the Switch and just dumped it right in the trash and just lit a match and got a bottle of kerosene, just...
Maybe they just got confused. Is it a kid? Is it a squid? Is it chat? I don't know. So this all became evident today when Hori, which is making the official Splatoon 2 headset, unveiled the new design for the headset. And it looks complicated to say the least.
We already knew that Splatoon voice chat would be done through an app on your smartphone, but somehow Nintendo and Hori decided to make it even more complicated.
Because it wasn't yet.
Exactly. According to the design photos, you'll have to plug your headset and your Switch and your phone into a device that looks kind of like an Inkling.
Which is kind of a cute touch.
Yeah, it is. But yes, you'll need to plug in 3 separate devices to be able to listen to other people and the game at the same time.
Insult your mother. Oh, and to further add to the difficulty level, the headphone cable is less than 20 inches long. So, yeah, it's basically the same length as the NES Classic, which you probably couldn't get. But just so you know, it was like the controller on that was about this long. So, yeah, despite Nintendo President Reggie Fils-Aimé promising that the Switch wouldn't have any clunky gamer headsets, judging by this monstrosity, that's because they're taking clunkiness to a new level. They didn't want to go with just ordinary, regular clunky. They wanted to really be ambitious.
But you at home might be saying, wait a minute, The Know. This is Hori, a third-party accessory maker. That's not Nintendo. And you know what? People at home, good point. But judging from screenshots, the headset looks like it's also an in-game item, which means that Nintendo, on some level, signed off on this unholy abomination. Also, the Splatoon Japanese Twitter account hyped up the headset. So even though it's a third-party manufacturer, the reality is that this is the first voice chat-enabled headset for the Switch, which has betrayed us, and it's going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, there's a very good chance that the first party solution may be more streamlined, but that's not out. We don't know anything about it yet, and so the story that's being written is this headset. And response to it and its many, many chords so far has not been all that positive, to say the least. The most popular reply to Hori's announcement on Twitter was, "This is the dumbest stuff I've seen yet. Who thought this was a good idea?"
Others pointed out that this issue has been addressed long ago by other console makers. After all, you might remember the Xbox 360 had a built-in voice chat when it launched.
Another responder tweeted a picture of the headset for the original Xbox saying, "Took less wires and made in 2001. It's 2017. Fix it."
Sick burn, internet. It wasn't any better over on the Nintendo Switch subreddit, where the top-rated comment called the headset freaking ridiculous and clunky as hell. Another Redditor added, "I can't for the life of me understand what the hell Nintendo is thinking with the app crap. They've done absolutely everything right with the Switch until now. This is just ridiculous."
But hey, it's shaped like an Inkling.
So
right?
There's your one positive, everybody.
So all of this is yet another sign that Nintendo and the internet kind of going together like oil and water. Now, Nintendo acknowledges the internet like your parents acknowledge your sex life, which is that they kind of know it exists, but they like to pretend that it doesn't unless they can make money off of it, like with an eShop.
Your parents are making money off of your sex life with an eShop. You heard it here, folks. And the issue of whether or not the Switch can support voice chat it's been an issue for months. It's honestly one of the biggest issues that people have with a console that is otherwise incredibly popular.
Yeah, judging from Nintendo's own specs for the Switch, it seems like the console does have that functionality. Nintendo says the Switch's audio jack can connect commercially available headphones, microphones, or headsets, which seems to indicate that there's some kind of functionality there.
Some people have even rigged up much easier audio setups that involve Velcro. Yes, Velcro is a more elegant solution than the Splatoon 2 monstrosity of a headset.
And Velcro means you don't have to tie your shoes.
Velcro also means you don't have to tie your shoes. Or if you're getting creative, it means you don't have to button your pants. But Nintendo today bought a Bluetooth transmitter and a jack cable, Velcroed it to the Switch, and used that to enable a Bluetooth headset. So wow, they should really work for Hori.
Good work. Of course, this isn't the first time there's been a kind of awkward peripheral for a video game. History is littered with the bodies of horrible add-ons, from the gigantic Steel Battalion controller for the original Xbox. Remember, but you were essentially paying $200 for that game because it had to have that huge battle station. Or there was the infamous Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller. That was a good one.
I still don't know how that works. Every time I look at it, it confuses me. But this also isn't the first time that Nintendo has gone creative when it comes to microphones. Remember We Speak mic accessory?
Nope. The issue here is that, again, it's 2017. You'd think that Nintendo and their partners like Hori would have solved this issue a little bit more elegantly by now because everyone else has. And while this isn't a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, it probably will affect a significant number of players, considering that Splatoon 2 is one of the big first-party titles for the Switch, and the first game sparked a huge competitive scene, especially in Japan. You might not realize it because it was a very kind of quiet success if you weren't in the Nintendo ecosystem, but it sold a ton of copies for a console that didn't. Now, it's not hard to imagine that some gamers will just use an app like Discord instead because that's easier.
But then again, what do we know? Apparently the headset is already topping the charts in Amazon Japan. So who knows? Maybe clunky is cool. We're bringing the 90s back.
Soon we're all gonna be walking around with big boom boxes like this.
Yeah, and jelly sandals. But the first Splatoon did sell 4.8 million copies with absolutely no voice chat, so maybe who freaking cares? Maybe it won't even matter.
I have to acknowledge that Nintendo has kind of a difficult job to do with voice chat on the Switch in particular, because in order to be able to have chat anywhere and multiplayer anywhere, because it's a hybrid console, and it doesn't have 3G or anything, so it's going to need Wi-Fi or something in order to be able to get online, do multiplayer, all that sort of stuff. They have a lot of additional puzzles to solve, and so voice chat is going to be affected by all those additional factors. This just isn't the most elegant solution. I'm really hoping that the app they come out with allows you to use Bluetooth to connect the Switch to your phone. It pulls your audio in the app, or the game audio into the app, pumps it into your ears. Your microphone then goes into the app and then out to the other people, and it's a little bit more simple that way. Hopefully this is just inelegant because it's third party. It's just unfortunate that this is the first thing we're seeing, but that's how I feel. What do you guys think?
We'd like to know. I would prefer less cords in my life, but
fewer cords is a good thing.
That's just me.
Yeah, let us know what you think of this solution in the comments down below.
And for all of your Nintendo Switch news, including when Nintendo finally figures out the internet, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the know.
You said house and my brain put in full house and I'm just like, no it didn't.
Everywhere you look, everywhere. Well, people are just getting
are we
stabbed.
now gonna get an Assassin's Creed trailer remix with that?
Assassin's Creed filmed in front of a live studio.
Well, come on, we're just waiting.